let's check in on how all of our good buddies are doing, especially Goro, because I still haven't really gotten too far into his social link just yet because he's extremely elusive to try and talk to. One of my favorite characters, but, not like Ryuji, who appears there every single day.
Mm-hmm. Like, would we call him Detective Kun or Detective Chan?
Detective Kun, no question.
Okay.
I going through all the dialogue, I've noticed that people have been calling him Rikaichan when the time comes up.
Okay.
Also, that was a flagrant lie from the main character. That dude has not used a piece of technology aside from a smartphone from the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, period. He owns a Famicom and like a CRT television. He doesn't know anything about this.
Yeah. Phew, my fingers are going to be sore tomorrow.
Yeah, and spend all that time fingering. Do I have to say that? Yes, he spent all that time fingering that gun. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
I did it. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know. Maybe it's the sort of streamers that I watch and everything, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
Well, this is episode 100 for us. Base 9. I mean, just me.
We could be playing Meteor Puncher right now. Why are we not doing that?
Episode 10,000, base 3. I'm just. Are we already content? Like,
we already did Persona 5 the math too. Don't forget about that. What is the other name? Demon Land something Land Ragnarok, which I suppose is actually kind of apropos given the last couple episodes.
No, actually I did. I thought about what we could do for the titles for the next couple episodes. So.
Oh, what do you got? I don't have any ideas
this
because
one
it's
is
again.
This one is going to be Personocalypse now.
Okay.
And then the next episode is going to be Personocalypse Revolutions. No. It's Personocalypse now Redux.
Redux.
Yes.
I don't actually get that one, but
it's a reference to
seen
Apocalypse Now Redux. That's all it is.
I didn't know them. I've only actually seen half of Apocalypse Now.
It's a they didn't make a sequel to Apocalypse Now. It's a 4-hour cut, I think. Yeah,
let's be honest. You don't know they never made a sequel to that. It could be one of those straight to VHS in the mid '90s. Did you know they made a sequel to Easy Rider?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was somebody bought the rights to Easy Rider, and then made a second Easy Rider. It has absolutely, it of course has absolutely nothing to do with Patrick Swayze, but they do reference his character and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the similarly like a newspaper comics or something where such things like literally never end. The Gasoline Alley, I'm pretty sure, is still being carried in newspapers. That's over like 100 years old.
Yeah. Oh, comics last forever. Like, you start doing a comic, and there's a good chance it goes into syndication, and your descendants will keep it going on for like 60 years. Like Garfield, it doesn't matter if Jim Davis dies. Like, I feel like Garfield does not die.
Jim Davis can't die.
That's true. He can't die until Garfield dies, and Garfield is never going to die.
Basically, if he ever is like close to death, the specter of Garfield hovers over him and breathes his lasagna of life into his mouth.
It's like the picture of Dorian Gray, except it's his writing. It just ages badly.
And as Jim Davis ages, Garfield becomes thinner and more attractive. Look at the original Garfield strips, everybody, and tell me I'm wrong.
Until it just becomes hardcore hentai.
Oh man, that would be the direction for Garfield that I would be into.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Fuck it. Nobody watches the series.
It's funny that I could probably answer.
Cross it off the bingo.
You got the guillotine question right.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Look,
Madame
if
Le
you're
Guillotine.
expecting me to like be paying attention, I figured out pretty quickly that never choose the first answer in these questions. They're always wrong. But I'm just like, whatever.
It was actually the guy named Guillotine, and I think it was like his name was like Madame Guillotine kind of thing. Yeah.
look, that's not always true. I mean, there's that famous thing about like John Crapper being the inventor of the toilet, and that was a joke. That was like a joke essay somebody wrote, but people took it seriously. And I remember people telling me that, and then I find out later that it's just like, wait a second, people are idiots.
And
I don't know. I think after Sexy Garfield, we're just gonna go downhill for the rest of the episode, eh?
Yeah. It is really annoying because it's like, oh yeah, that's that is actually a difficult question if you don't know the history of the guillotine.
We talk about execution methods a lot in these episodes, isn't we?
The weird thing, yeah, and revolution. So I mean, it could be that they're trying to build up to something. Honestly, that's one of those things where, why are they?
Well,
why do
I
they
think you know
insist
exactly
on
what they're building to.
Adding random trivia? If they want to add flavorful historical or scientific commentary, why don't they just do that? Like Marky does a science thing. Like, why tie in some stupid gameplay mechanics?
They're cowards. The people who write this are cowards, and I will say it yet again. I don't care who hears it, even the writers themselves.
Yeah.
I won't back down like who did that in this series? Yoshizawa. Yoshizawa was all like, "Oh, I insulted the fan of these right in front of them." It's like, "Fuck you! Stick to your guns."
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought you were talking about Tom Petty, but then I realized he doesn't back down.
No, never. I mean, it's that would go against his entire song about that. That wasn't even clever. That was just me saying, "Yes, I also get the reference."
Yeah.
Of course, it's like how often are we gonna?
Okay,
how often have I done that in the past?
I got something. So Tom Petty wouldn't like this game either because he hates waiting.
Oh, I mean,
it wasn't great.
It's the hardest part.
Maybe he likes the free falling
Anyway,
section.
apparently, like Chihiya's in a cult. That's kind of interesting, but that also again absolves her from her whole like usurious selling of rock salt to people on the pretense of it. Whatever. Yeah. As you know, how many social links are we gonna go through where it's just like
all along they were good guys.
It's somebody else's fault. We can pass that buck like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Well, maybe
spoiler.
Yeah. Like
gonna be seeing more of that.
Like they could have just made her a bad person. And like,
what if she was just a bad person? What if she was just knowing? I mean, that was something that I figured out pretty early on in the social link. It's like, oh, she's just an idiot, and then it's just like, oh wait, no, she's in a cult.
Oh, by the way, look in the background. Note the cult 9 on the.
Oh yeah, that's very
excellent.
Apropos. Oh, very clever, very clever.
I think it's a neat touch.
Writers.
I mean, it's a little on the nose, but obviously
it's more subtle than a lot of stuff in the game.
I realize, like, I mean, I feel like they do a lot of good stuff with that background. I've been paying a little bit more attention to that. It's not, like, great. It doesn't save the writing by any means.
Once again, I love so much of the design in this game, but it is really undone by the awful writing.
The Maiden of Relief.
By the way, Maiden is Shrine Maiden in Japanese.
Okay.
Like a Miko.
Okay.
In case you're wondering.
Yeah.
ADP, where you can clearly see in the Japanese it says HPTC. Just, one of those localization differences. All right. And as always, it's like we're constantly in front of the sign that says, like, in front of the tenant gathering, no solicitor, but whatever. Doesn't matter.
Wow, this is a really... I like that they just find, like, like they could have just made her a villain, or they instead just want to find, like, the most abusive possible person to be, like, the real villain.
Like, they don't just... Persona 5, baby.
Yep. They can't just...
Persona's back. The Personocalypse continues as it's just the same fucking thing.
They can't just... It would be more interesting if they were people with flaws dealing with people who are slightly more flawed. But it's like, no, instead it's like, actually they're the good guys all along, and there's this actually even worse person who's actually...
They're being oppressed by some other fucking person who you can put all of the blame on, even though at first glance they might seem like... I mean, that's the entire thing. They say it over and over and over. Good people don't do bad things.
Yeah.
Ever.
Instead of like that
and it's
being
just like
the
if it
whole...
seems like they did bad things, that's because somebody else did it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's kind of like it also is like it's like you can do that sometimes. That is actually the right thing. There are abusive people. There are people who don't speak up. But it's like just creating this Manichaean dichotomy between good and evil, and there's no the good people don't do bad things, bad people don't do good things. It's just boring, and it's like we just got to figure out who is who, even because somebody doing something. They may be superficially bad or superficially good, but they're really deep down good or bad, and that's
why it's like in a normal story, everything would be pointing directly towards Goro being the guy that shot that just straight up executed Okumura, but it's like I know that's not going to be the case because the game wouldn't have that sort of like they wouldn't have somebody like turn over a new leaf that is evil like that.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like I know this game doesn't have a lot of surprises so far. It's actually annoyingly predictable in a lot of ways. I do think it's possible
Sainajima starts out every story arc by just telling you who the next villain is going to be.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but I wonder if they're going to surprise us one or two times by thinking of like a really good, reveal or a solid exterminate his family. Oh my god.
I told you the death cult, it's happening. That's interesting, but it's just like again, these are literally just lines of text on the screen. There's no actual person behind them.
Yeah. I do think honestly these are really interesting like flavor text because it's like these people are like it's blood vengeance and stuff.
Yeah, but it's like the comments have always been basically villainous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The fans have been antagonistic at all points in time. And actually, okay, you know what? Here we got Mishima coming up. It's like he's actually having a story arc happen over his plot line, which I've been enjoying.
Yeah. I like that this he has so much swagger, like his motion. Like he really is just like into it.
He loves. He is again like the weird. It would be so much better of a main character than the main character, because it's just like he is actually looking into the abyss at this point in time. Because when he gets this sort of power, he does abuse it basically. Yeah. Like a normal person. Yeah,
and he's a normal kid, but he's also like got some. He's got some flaws, and he's got some positive attributes. Like he could be,
he really wants to do the best. He really wants to do the right thing, but it's like he's also like still human.
And the thing is, he's seeing this supernatural power, and he's like, we got to use this. Like, we can't just sit around and just wait for the next villain. Like,
just wait for somebody to come up and force you into action.
And he's really uncertain. You know what I mean? Like he's like
he has no confidence in himself.
Aren't I amazing? You guys, I swear he's kind of like got that like Willy Loman, just pathetic.
I'm like the actual character was like Willy Loman, who just got everything he wanted by the end.
Yeah,
and also it wasn't his fault that anything happened, and he did fucking whatever every single time.
And he got to have that very happy son.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's coming up soon enough. We're still doing a Y storyline against all odds.
I love that
dropped him like a sack of bricks. Even though it's so tempting to just drop every one of these storylines like a sack of bricks, except for Mishima. And maybe, well, I don't know. Makoto, as we saw last time, her entire plot line is, well, I feel bad for having prejudice against people. And now it's like, well, I guess it's time to learn that lesson again, as we saw in our last story arc.
I love how over-eager Mishima is.
He's so, like, again, he's got so much more of a story arc than any other one of the main characters. I'm responsible for all the changes. So I guess, like, it's going to end with us beating up his shadow, which is actually, like, not bad. That would not be a bad thing, because it's just like, hey, look, it's a character who actually has fucking layers here.
To be clear,
he's doing
we
shit,
are not,
and he wants to actually do things, and he wants to get out there and do things, even though he's entirely wrong.
Yeah, and I know it sounds like we're kind of joking. It's like, oh, you make Mishima the main character. No, we're serious. We're dead serious.
I'm deadly serious about that.
It would be awesome. Like, he's just got so much charisma and so many flaws. It would be so funny, like, watching him, like, you know, like, slam his head against the wall.
Over and over.
Yes, yes.
It's like, I want to see Mishima be a phantom thief and just fuck up over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, do all of this. Like, he would have actually killed somebody. Hey, wouldn't that have been interesting?
Mm-hmm.
He would have, like, fucking killed a pop idol because he's a dumbass. But it's like, man, at least that'd be something.
I mean, honestly, that would be, like, a really compelling arc. It would be like, oh, man, you know, we really messed up. And we're like, what would be funny is if the first... They started with the Phantom Thieves just doing something that everyone agreed was just incredibly good and popular. Like you know, killed, like, a dictator or something. And then they just keep going downhill as Mishima keeps leading them into disastrous ideas, and they become more and more disenchanted until it breaks up the group and Mishima has to fight against his former teammates or something. You know, just and that's what brings law enforcement into it. Blah, blah, blah. And then they end up having to fight one of the classmates who's a great villain. You know, that kind of thing. Like, just... You're
just talking about... This is all just fucking Danganronpa, isn't it? Isn't it, you piece of shit?
Look,
you fuck! I knew it! It all comes back to Danganronpa.
I'm a creative, right? Well, I guess it's kind of Danganronpa. I mean, it's not literally, but it's compellingly written. So yes, in that sense, it's Danganronpa more than Persona 5.
You shit! I don't think I don't see through this.
Listen, my goal in this is to completely demoralize you for Persona and get you to do Danganronpa.
I was into doing Danganronpa all the way back when we first sent out the calling card to Kamoshida. Go watch that episode if you want.
Listen, this is all my doing.
I was interested in that game. I like that. It seemed interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What if we went and just played like a Danganronpa style game, like Your Turn to Die? You like that?
I haven't played that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think that it would be interesting.
Huh,
I don't know though. I've seen a little bit of that game. I haven't seen everything. It's coming out in parts.
Well, if it's decently written, I mean, it couldn't be worse than this.
It's death game shenanigans, or you know, like a 999.
What is the Baze one? What is a Baze?
I don't know.
It is funny that Goro's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a competition to see who can change faster. That's such a...
I, again, love the relationship that these guys have. Goro's getting so chummy, and I love it.
Yeah, and he's so... he's such a bastard. Like, he actually has such a character. Like, he's
such so... fuck.
He's so competitive, he almost, like, carries the day with this, like, relationship.
With this line earlier about just like, I'm going to go swash the stink of the arcade off of me. It's like,
yes,
what an asshole. I love him.
This episode. That's a great line. I sit. I'm like anyone else. I take a hot bath. I sit down and get a cold beverage. It's like, hell yeah.
I'm not. He's doing the whole like I'm not like other guys thing. Except I am. Ah, man, I love this guy.
Yeah. I feel like they must have gotten different writers for Goro, Mishima. I mean, really, they have some talented writers here. Like like, let's be clear about that. This is a failure of production and to a lesser extent with mismatched ambitions. They should not have tried to make this about everything. They should have tried to make it a fun character thing, and if deeper themes emerged from that would have been good. Like, okay.
Yeah, cosmic horror, and then also not forcing them to make it 100 hours long. I mean, that's something that we talked about before, where it's just like, I don't think the writers are dumb, idiot, stupid heads.
Yeah.
I just think that they were asked to. They're just like, make it longer, make it longer, make it longer.
Mm-hmm. And you can't keep doing that without, like, because characters need to have consequences. Like, you sometimes you just have great synergy. You have Bugs Bunny versus Daffy Duck, and it's like you could just have them do things for 50 hours, and you'd never get sick of it. But it's like, when you've got like real characters that you're trying to make as complex people with arcs, you have to have things have consequences. You have to have people change over time, and you can't just.
You got to be willing to let people fuck up.
Yeah. And it's kind of two impulses there. So it's not just the 100 hours. It's also that at the end, there's this predetermined scene that they all have to be part of. And there's only so much that they can change. Can't change in fundamental ways. They just have their...
And of course, it's just like Goro talking about like, hey, we're like the two opposite people. It's not, no, you're not. My character has no personality.
Well,
you're like a block of uncut
they are
marble.
Opposites in that way. Goro's full of personality. Main character has no personality.
Yeah, it's yeah. Well, anyway, it's just like we still gotta go do more of Futaba's storyline, but she actually I tried to look into it, but she actually requires kindness, which has been my dump stat the entire time.
You need to be kinder to the Persona writers.
Oh, I'm not gonna be kind to the Persona writers.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't want to be like, you guys are idiots, let me tell you how to write a story. But at the same time, well, too bad. That's what's happening.
Well,
and the other thing is that it's just like, when like Persona 5 Shuffle or Strikers, whatever the fuck it's called, came out and people are like, oh, it's a short game because it's 55 hours long. It's like, that there is outside pressure to make them make the game like this.
Mm-hmm. And I suspect there's also producers who are like, just
we gotta show that this has this has enough content for people to justify buying it. It's I thought the episode was over. Like, oh, we're only 20 minutes into it, aren't we?
Yeah, we got 8
Forgot that we have
left.
to be here a half hour as per contract. The invisible contract I made with myself, apparently, for my persona.
It's per Monday, or Purse Monday.
It's Purse Monday. My persona, of course, is the giant foot that lives in the toilet. Trying to be the Phoenix? Yeah, I guess. That's a character. He appeared in Strange Journey in a pretty memorable side quest.
I have no idea what you're talking about. You've just gone on a tangent. And
I would like to go look him up, but it's like, I'm really going to do a lot more fact check. Fuck it, let's do it.
Okay. I'm
Megami Tensei, foot that lives in toilet.
Watching the episode at this point. No.
Who cares? This guy's part of the Yakuza, but we never actually hear anything about like bad stuff he's done. And he also quit and tried to go legitimate and is raising a child that was abandoned and everything.
Actually,
like that. What a good guy. And he's being opposed by some asshole who blah blah.
Yeah, who wants to keep him down? Yeah, keep him in the Yakuza, keep him in the criminal underworld. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Megami Tensei, foot that lives in toilet. Kanbari. Here we go. Got a picture of him?
You know that you aren't showing me this, right? Okay, there we go.
There he is.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's mission accomplished.
Let's get this battle over with. I want to get back to the John.
Yeah. And but
again, a very memorable side quest.
I want to point out all the characters are going through the exact same melodramatic journey. From I mean, like, this is the same. How is this any different from the fortune teller?
It's really not. Again, how's it any different from Takemi with her being bedeviled by the horrible hospital person,
or Yoshida with the
Yoshida who's being bedeviled by the horrible. I guess technically never actually saw Kuramoto, but Ryuji being bedeviled by. I guess his former. I mean, it was Kamoshida's. Like I don't even know what you call him, vassal.
Yeah. And then let's see.
Well, Makoto is she's fighting against her own prejudices.
Yeah. I mean,
over and over.
And it's a little bit interesting. I mean, that's an actual conflict.
I guess I could say like Igor or Morgana, but they're part of like the main plot.
Igor really even have a plot going on besides?
Sojiro, there was like some guy, which I haven't even checked in with his thing in a while. Ichiko had her producers or her bosses. Is there anybody that... Yeah, it's like Makoto. Makoto's like the one.
Yeah.
Yoshizawa, I guess, doesn't have anybody in particular.
So
no, she's got middle-aged teacher and vice principal.
I mean, and Maruki, nothing wrong with him, but he doesn't really seem to have an arc so far. He's really interested in cognitive science.
Yeah, he's learning about cognitive science, and we might get something a little bit later on, considering I have played quite a bit ahead. But it's like I'm trying to rush through his storyline because he's supposed to leave in November. It's 10-9 right now.
Yeah. He'll be gone.
Are we gonna get there?
I
don't know. We might not make it. We might not make it to rank 10 of Maruki. I'm trying super hard, but I don't think we're gonna make it.
Dr. Maruki will be gone in November. He'll be gone in November. Sorry.
Well, there's always Yoshizawa. At least we can get that as far as the Royal Social Links go.
Well, that would be really surprising if you couldn't get Maruki because of the Royal thing. I guess that doesn't really make sense.
Because he's leaving in November. It's just like they told me about this when he was first introduced. I should have known. It's like, as you can tell from the last few episodes, it's just like, man, I've been hammering on that one. But it's like, and we're even getting like in story sort of stuff here too. But yeah, any other storylines that we've done that are it's all the fault of one person. I guess we haven't really looked into Yusuke or Anne just yet.
Yeah. Also, I just want to point out again, just melodrama of the gun shop owner. But
Mishima.
They're trying to make him overly sympathetic. Like, he's just like, okay, he can't just be like a bad person or somebody caught in the tangles of something. He has to have this like sympathetic in that you have to feel sappy about. Okay, he's got a son and he's got a growth spurt.
Yeah. It's like he's taking care of this child who was abandoned, and he had to quit like the Yakuza for that. And he's trying to run everything legit. Yeah. No, it's all super melodramatic bullshit.
Like, what would just make him a little bit evil?
No, he was part of the Yakuza. What did he do in the Yakuza? I don't know. Maybe he fucking cleaned the toilets. Who cares?
Yeah.
But Makoto and Mishima are basically their own villains, which is, again, actually more interesting, but Makoto's just learning the same fucking lesson over and over.
I think
Mishima, though, is still good.
I like Mishima is actually like the hubris nemesis thing, and I really love that. Like, just he's always, but they don't give him enough, they don't give him enough opportunities to get screwed. Like,
we get 10 ranks to talk to him, basically. And that's gonna be it. At least there's probably going to be a payoff where we got to go into Mementos and beat up his shadow, which I think is something.
Yeah.
At least that's where I think it's probably going to be going. Who knows? Maybe it's just because main character is the most perfect, wonderful, kindest, gentlest, etc.
I like that you are basically just hovering over the timestamp. We are just so ready.
I don't remember how long this episode was. It was supposed to end after. Fuck, I don't even remember. Before after the Futaba and Iwai thing. Yeah, that was when I originally charted it to end, but then I'm just like, oh man, I guess I don't have as much footage recorded as I thought.
Yeah.
Because I usually topped it off at about like 22, 23 minutes, and it's just like 7 is going to be fucking IM messages or, trivia from classes, but it's just like, no, I actually got to go more than that.
Yeah.
Also,
they really took gamifying social links too far. I know I probably said that before, but it's just like, it's just a little bit dumb the way they do this. Like, oh yeah, you're reading about tech magazines, so your proficiency goes up. All right.
Yeah, Social Links, I don't know. Once again, it's just like I feel like my own memories, nostalgia of the series is betraying me. But it's like I did genuinely like Persona 3 and 4. I can't say that I didn't.
Personocalypse now Redux. Or I guess it's not the Redux.
This is Personocalypse now.
Okay.
I mean, it's there's layers to the title.
Yeah.
I guess. Speaking of which, you ready to do the next episode? Because I'll probably have... If you're up late enough, we can probably still do it.
Maybe, yeah. Personocalypse is the prequel to Personocalypse now.
Oh, boy. I mean, yes.